remember feeling like my heart was just exposed on this hospital bed, and we can't hold him, we can't make him better. And I just remember us pleading and just praying that they just wouldn't stop trying, because we knew that when they stopped, that was it, he was gone.
You have all doctors and nurses in there, people saying we have no pulse, and then that they've got the pulse back, and people yelling out numbers, and we don't know what's going on, and we're just sitting on the ground on our knees just begging that God would save Casey.
We couldn't believe it was happening. My baby, my 4-week-old baby, had a cold, and less than 24 hours later, he was dying.
Unfortunately, in the transfer from the one hospital to Children's, Casey suffered respiratory failure and then cardiac arrest. So the nurses and doctors did CPR on Casey for 45 minutes. We were told right off the bat that Casey would likely have moderate to severe brain damage at the very least, and potentially we may have to take him off the ventilator and he would never be able to breathe on his own.
After 72 hours, they took him into the CT scan, and we knew we'd have to wait about an hour. Then they would pull us into a room and say, here's what we found. And after about 15 minutes, and he comes in and he says, I just didn't want to delay. I wanted to give you the news. There's no signs of damage to his brain. And he said, well, your baby defies all logic. He said, in my experience, this does not happen.
Casey had a very difficult time with a viral illness that led to a significant airway problem. Once he'd recovered from that, staying in the intensive care department, he had ongoing airway problems and difficulty breathing, and so our team was asked to come and see him to see if we could help figure out what was going on with him.
They knew there must be kind of something going on, and they did take him into the OR, and they put him out, and they did a procedure in which they would look at his airway below his vocal cords.
The equipment we use is a fiber optic laryngoscope, and that's a thin fiber optic tube which basically we pass through the nose, and it's connected to a camera system. We needed to have a look lower down because the fiber optic endoscope only shows you the upper part of the airway, and we actually were concerned the problem seemed to be below that in the windpipe itself.
They were really surprised at what they found, and that was almost an 80% blockage of his airway.
The airway didn't look safe at all for him to breathe through such a small opening, so we had to stretch it open for him. The safest way to do that is to pass a balloon through the opening and inflate the balloon, therefore stretching the tissues open to make the airway a bigger size. By the time we had completed the third balloon dilatation, we left him with a normal-sized airway. That would leave him with the ability to breathe just like any other child. This is very equipment-sensitive work, and what's very fascinating for us is how quickly the equipment changes and how much a difference new equipment makes. Without the help of donors buying this equipment and keeping us abreast of the state-of-the-art technology, there's no way we'd be able to keep up with these opportunities to look after children. It's really exciting to know that what interventions you make on very little people, will be remembered and have an effect throughout their whole childhood, and obviously right into the rest of their life.
You never want to be there, but when you're there, you're glad that they have the training that they have, the equipment that they have, because without it, our little guy may not be here. It's been a great experience. It's a weird thing to say, but considering what had happened, we couldn't have asked for better care and better relationships that we've built with the staff at BC Children's Hospital.